once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.
UMAR, AHMED, IFL TV, MTK Global. As you can see, we're here for a Billy Joe workout. Yeah, good to get Billy on board with the Matchroom stable. Not sure whether he's going to be on Sky yet, but I'm sure we'll understand that. But yeah, at least he's with Eddie, and sure he'll be on Sky soon anyway.
Absolutely, no, we're very keen on having him on Sky as soon as possible. November the 9th is a big night. It's a different night. KSI Logan Paul, obviously, the battle of the YouTubers, and a fascinating event to take place in LA with Billy Joe on, and I think Devon Haney, who's in the Sky Studios today. We've got Devon Haney at Sky today. We've got Kell Brook there. Eddie came in as well. We've got Billy Joe here. It's been a great day, and I think it shows the great access that we get to our sportsmen, our sportswomen as well. We were with Katie Taylor and Anthony Croll and all those guys last week. It's just great that we get, I think, a special access in boxing to our stars. To have Kell Brook, one of the great fighters of the last 10 years in Sky, then Devon Haney comes over for some promotional work as well. Maybe the best young fighter in the world. It's great that we can have that close relationship with the fighters, and they can be well looked after on the media front. So yeah, really good. And that's for Billy Joe. I'm extremely excited to be working with him. Massive admirer of Billy Joe. I think he's a terrific fighter. He's had his ups and downs. He's matured. He's in a good place. He looks terrific now, and I think that he's got some really exciting fights ahead up in the super middleweight division. You likes of Callum Smith. Chris Eubank will be a huge fight. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting Billy on board. Billy's starting up again. We've worked together before. I remember when he turned pro, and there was a whole sort of hoopla around him, Frankie Gavin and James DeGale, and he's the sort of last one standing of that lot. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to with Billy Joe in the next 2 or 3 years.
You mentioned Kell Brook and Devon Haney. We'll come on to them names in a second, but just staying with Billy, you mentioned Callum Smith and Chris Eubank Jr., 2 British guys. I mean, those are 2 potential massive pay-per-views on Sky Sports.
They're huge fights, yeah. Callum has got to get back in a ring soon. We had him obviously in the Garden on the AJ bill, but we're looking to hopefully get him back in the autumn. And then, looking forward to seeing what he can do in 2020. There's huge fights that can be made, and you're right, with the likes of, Billy Joe, Callum and Eubank Jr., you could really have a succession of fights there that, may not quite be like the sort of Ben, Eubank, Collins days of old, but, it's pretty good for this modern generation, isn't it? And as you know, so much is happening in every division that the super middleweights need their chance in the limelight, and it's good that Eddie has got Callum and Billy Joe, that Chris Eubank Jr. we've worked with before, so there's no reason why those fights can't be made.
Specifically on November the 9th though, what do you make of, I know a lot's been made of it, what do you make of Billy Joe being on the undercard? I don't even know if it's the right thing to say on the undercard of 2 YouTubers. I don't know if we should call it the bill of 2 YouTubers, or because the undercard sounds a little bit disrespectful. Do you
it's a difficult one, isn't it? Billy Joe Saunders is a great fighter. KSI and Logan Paul aren't, and they are YouTubers who are having a fight which has captured a huge anticipation amongst some people in the world, the YouTube world. They have millions of followers. It's something that we've taken notice of in the last couple of years. I like to think of it in a different way, and that I think Billy Joe has sort of tweeted that he's happy to be on their card. They're two different things. You're looking at entertainment in one aspect with KSI and Logan Paul, who are novices putting on a pair of gloves and have got to be in one way judged that way, but at the same time it's fun, it's entertainment, and people want to see it. As far as hardcore boxing fans go, of course they're going to want to see Billy Joe Saunders, Devon Haney and the others on the card who they'll feel deserve their place on a proper bill at the Staples Centre. So it's a tricky one, but we've got to go with the times. I look at my daughter, my youngest daughter, who's 8. She's got her own YouTube channel. My son, who is nearly 12, is talking about KSI and Logan Paul. I want them maybe to see how good Billy Joe Saunders is, and to see how good Devon Haney is, and so maybe we'll make some supporters of the younger crowd, or the crowd that are really into the YouTube fight, by getting them to watch the proper guys do it. But yes, it's a strange one, and maybe ask Billy Joe about that. As far as I'm concerned, it's about Billy Joe getting back, looking good, and moving on towards maybe a huge fight early 2020.
I think the hardcore's a bit concerned we could see more of this going forward with different YouTubers or different entertainers outside of boxing, where we get top draw fighters like Billy and Devin on the undercard, suppose, of entertainers, YouTubers, etc. Moving forward, it could happen more, basically. What are your kind of thoughts or feelings towards that?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, ultimately, boxing is a huge sport now. I've been at Sky 25 years, and through thick and thin, we have supported boxing at whatever level, whether it's an area title level, whether it's running around the leisure centres around Britain, whether it's a huge fights in Vegas. We have been ever present throughout that on Sky Sports. You've got to go with the change of times, and ultimately, people want to box. Okay, whether they are, here, look at the BXR gym around us. Whether you're training for a white collar fight, you're keeping fit, whether you want one professional fight, whether you want to make a career of it. There's a lot more people talking about boxing, so you're going to get these sort of events. Spencer, Johnny, and I do a lot of charity work. Future Dreams into breast cancer. We also do open homes for children and prostate cancer. We support some charities, and at those sort of things, sometimes you have white collar fights and whatever, and top of the bill there is two people you might not have heard of, but they're all for a good cause. So my point is, a lot of people are coming to shows and events now to watch all different levels of boxing. So I think if you take it for what it is, that's fine. You don't have to watch YouTube, the KSI Logan Paul fight if you don't want to, but ultimately it is something that's going to happen. Will it happen more? Possibly. And if there's money involved, people will want to make business decisions to show these sort of things. As a hardcore fight fan myself, as a real boxing fan myself, do I think Billy Joe Saunders should be on the undercard of them? I find that quite uneasy. However,
so you're not too comfortable with it then?
No, I think comfortable is the wrong word. I mean, I feel as a fight fan, if I'm looking with my sort of, I've been a boxing fan since I was a kid. I have huge respect for every single fighter that gets in the ring, whether you're a 4-round fighter, a journeyman, or whether you're a world dominator like a Floyd Mayweather or Vasily Lomachenko. Anyone that gets in that ring is a brave man or woman, and the women's boxing is going through the roof at the moment. They're brave people, braver than me, braver than a lot of people, to get in that ring and and take the risks each and every time. And I have immense respect for everyone that does that. I've also got respect if people want to do it for charity. If they want to go through 12, 14 weeks of training, go in there and do something for charity and want to test themselves for 3 2-minute rounds, whatever. I've got huge respect for that. I just think that it's someone like Billy Joe Saunders or Devin Haney. It's a platform for them to get into a new audience. It's a platform for the YouTubers we can get a new demographic involved in boxing. If it grows the sport, it's great. If you're saying it like, the YouTubers are ahead of top fighters, it makes me feel uneasy. I like to see it as a show. You get the best of boxing, and you get this new form of entertainment, which we're all quite interested in. I mean, the YouTube world are mad for it, and even as sort of boxing fans and supporters of the sport, we're interested to see sort of where this goes and what happens, and actually how good they are. We saw it in Manchester, and will they be any better? Will they? They've got big training camps ahead of this one. It's no head guards. It's a professional fight. Yeah, you take it for what it is. It is, it is 2 novices in a boxing match, but it is something that the world wants to see, and it is, in its own way, very exciting.
Another big talking point in boxing at the moment is Nigel Benn's return. Press conference tomorrow, so he's going to be returning to the ring. How do you feel about Adam?
Again, another difficult topic. A lot of difficult topics at the moment. And you're right to ask the questions. How do I feel about it? Nigel Benn was, someone I looked up to when I was a kid. Chris Eubank was actually my favourite. But actually, when I got into Sky and I worked with Nigel, I really got on with him, and I worked with him through the last part of his career after the McClellan fight, which was a difficult time for him because he, as he always kept telling me, had the angel on one side, the devil on the other. It was difficult with what happened to Gerald, and he had still fights ahead of him, and then he had those 2 difficult fights with Steve Collins at the end. So it was hard. How do I feel about him fighting all these years later? Look, if he wants to do it and he's past fit, and there are bodies that will governing bodies that will support that, then who am I to stop or say someone shouldn't be doing something? I'll be interested in watching it because I've known Nigel a long time. But look, it's you've got to, as long as everything from a medical point of view and health and safety is paramount. As long as it's a good match, it's under good governing restrictions, then let them get on with it. It's obviously going to make a lot of publicity. Is it something he really needs to get out of his system in his 50s? Maybe it is. I just hope this doesn't really become a regular thing, because fighters have had their day and they career's hard enough. I watched Nigel sort of almost limp out of boxing with that ankle problem, and years later he wants to challenge himself. Look, a challenge is fine. Everyone does challenges in different ways. If he feels he's right to do it, good luck to him, and I hope he comes out safe and sound. I'm sure he will, and I like him very much, so I wish him well.
Now, Adam, I think we've talked to death about this potential fight between Kell Brook and Amir Khan. Rumours always circulating. Again, they've come about. I think both camps have mentioned they would be open to the fight. Have you heard anything? Have you spoken to Amir or either Kell?
I was with Kell today. Kell's looking in good shape. Kell wants to fight. Amir has told me a number of times over the years he's always wanted this fight. He's danced his own tune. He's gone his own way. I believe this is the last chance.
How many times have we said that?
Look, there's been probably two occasions where it's been very close. One where I was sort of a bit of a middleman with because Amir and Eddie weren't talking, and then Amir turned away and fought Canelo in a big money fight. There was a moment there where I thought it might happen, and then there was a moment, obviously, when Amir came under the Matchroom banner, that you thought it was going to lead towards that. I think that they both need each other. Kell, we haven't seen this year. Kell needs to fight. Amir, I think maybe wants one more. But I think if it doesn't happen in the spring of 2020, it's never going to happen. I still think it's a big fight, albeit that they are, at the tail end of their careers. They are in the Indian summers. They are looking at the end. But I reckon, a 2-fight deal in 2020 would be pretty dramatic, and if that could happen, and I think people will be very interested in it. I think people have always wanted to see Brook Khan Brook in a ring. If they can agree on the weight, they agree on the money. I don't think they've ever got really anywhere else to. I mean, okay, Kell could fight for a world title. They could fight other fights, but Kell didn't look that impressive last December, and that's a long time ago. Amir obviously had the fight with Crawford. Yes, he had the seal win against Billy Dib, but look, they need each other. So my message, once again, and probably for the final time, is now: get your heads together, get together with Eddie, make it happen on Sky in the first 2 or 3 months of 2020, and then we'll see how much interest it still has. I think it has a lot of interest, but I think if it's not made in the first half of 2020, it's never going to happen, and it'll be one that, we look back at Lewis Bowe, never happened. We look back at Witter Hatton, never happened, and we're just going to have to, say that they just avoided it, and it's a real shame. But I think both of them are in the same boat now. They both need each other. So one final chance. If I can help make it happen, I will. I think it will be a great finale for both of them. They've both been great for boxing, and their names have been synonymous with each other for so long, and yet I remember back on ringside years ago when the two came head to head. There's always been that needle. There's always been, they sort of look like a team together, a bit like Froch and Rose. They look like they need each other, and they always have. And I think that until they finally have the gloves up, we'll probably never say never. But I do think this is the last chance.
Do you think it still do well on Sky Box Office?
Yes, I do. Yeah, okay. I think it's one that, with the right promotion and the fact they're actually signing on the dotted line. Yeah, they don't like each other. They're both good characters. They're both big names. No doubt it'll do well. And I think people will really want to see it. I think they always have done. I think maybe it doesn't have quite the gloss it had 4 or 5 years ago, but I think it's still a big fight. A big fight.
All right, Adam. Well, Billy's workout's just about to start, so we'll catch up in depth in a couple of days. I'm sure we'll see you soon.
No problem at all.
Cheers, Adam.
No problem. Thank you.
Once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.